Not salary, but growth. Gen Z is hungry for progress. And the whole story of the job world is quietly changing. It is 2 in the morning. A young professional shuts his laptop, but his mind still hasn't shut down. Job portals are open on his screen, LinkedIn messages are sitting there, a few interview emails are unread, and one offer letter is lying right in front of him. The package is not bad, the brand is decent, and even the family is saying that if such a stable job is coming so early, he should grab it. But he pauses. He looks at the salary column, then reads the role description, then searches for the growth path, then thinks about exit opportunities, and then asks himself one question. Will this job only pay me, or will it also take me forward? This is the quiet turning point where today's Gen Z begins to look different from the previous generations. From the outside, it seems like the same job, the same office, the same resume, but from the inside, the entire philosophy has changed. Today's young professional is not out there just to earn. They are out there to learn, to grow fast, and to move their career forward not through shortcuts, but through smart moves. And this shift has placed companies, HR teams, and traditional job culture in front of a mirror that is showing a lot of change. Until a few years ago, the biggest mantra in the job world was simple. The job that pays more is the best job. On campuses, package numbers became headlines, in family discussions CTC became the hero, and in society the first measure of success was often seen as how much salary someone got. But now, a subtle, yet very deep change is becoming visible in the picture. The Unstopped Talent Report 2026, based on insights from more than 37,000 students and over 500 HR leaders, shows that Gen Z's attention is shifting away from salary and toward learning, skill development, faster career progression, and work-life balance. According to the report, more than 90% of Gen Z professionals are willing to accept a slightly lower salary if the role gives them a better chance to learn, grow faster, and live a more balanced life. This is not a small shift. This is the kind of shift that can change the psychology of the job market. And this is where the most interesting layer of the story opens up. Usually when someone says that money is not everything, people treat it like idealism. But this is not idealism. This is calculation. Gen Z is looking at today's job market like an investment. They are thinking, if I work somewhere for 2 years, what will I get? Just a monthly salary or skills that will push me twice as far in the next job. Just a designation or visibility that strengthens my professional brand. Just routine tasks or projects that increase my career value. That is why the report says that 60 to 65% of respondents said that learning and skill development are their top priority when choosing a first job, while only 11 to 13% gave salary the highest priority. That means for Gen Z, a job is increasingly becoming more of a growth engine than just a source of income. This shift sounds modern, but there are deep practical reasons behind it. The world is no longer as linear as it once was. Getting one degree and then staying on one track for decades is no longer a guaranteed model. AI tools, automation, digital transformation, remote work, startup culture, the creator economy, gig exposure, and rapidly changing industry demand have taught young professionals that the one who keeps learning is the one who stays secure. Gen Z has seen layoffs, unstable markets, startup shutdowns, fast promotions, quick pivots, and skill-led hiring at a very young age. They have understood that a good start alone is not enough. Staying continuously relevant matters more. That is why they are looking at the learning curve before the salary slip. They know that a stagnant role may feel comfortable in the beginning, but in the long run, it can become a career trap. But the second part of the story is uncomfortable for companies. Because while Gen Z has changed rapidly, organizations have not adapted that quickly. According to the survey, only 36% of HR leaders consider themselves fully prepared to hire and manage Gen Z talent in the right way. This is a very big signal. It means that the majority of organizations are still working with a generation whose expectations, communication style, loyalty pattern, career urgency, and workplace values they still do not fully understand. HR teams may be comfortable in compensation bands, hiring funnels, and process efficiency, but Gen Z is speaking the language of role clarity, mentorship, visible growth paths, and fast feedback. When both sides are speaking different languages, mismatch is inevitable, and that mismatch eventually turns into early attrition. Many companies still assume that if the initial package is decent, the brand name is strong, and the office infrastructure is good, then a fresher will stay. But the report shows that 49 to 59% of early career employees leave organizations because they do not get growth opportunities. This number does not show just dissatisfaction. It shows a breakdown of trust. When a young employee joins, they do not just accept a salary, they accept a hope that here I am going to become something. If after a few months they feel that they are not getting meaningful work, there is no mentor, the path ahead is blurry, and their role identity is limited to just bench, support, or wait, then choosing to exit stops being an emotional decision and becomes a rational one. In fact, Gen Z's biggest demand is not just growth, but visible growth. This generation is not satisfied with vague promises. They do not want to hear, work hard, you will get opportunities later. They want to know when later, how later, on what basis, and within what timeline. That is why pay transparency and career progression clarity have become such big deal breakers. According to the survey, around 27% of candidates drop out in the middle of the hiring process because salary transparency is missing. The interesting thing here is that Gen Z may not place salary at the very top of its priority list, but it treats salary transparency as non-negotiable. That makes one thing clear. They do not want just income, they want fairness and clarity. They want to build their careers not on blind trust, but on informed choice. Even the definition of trust has changed for this generation. Earlier, employer brand itself used to be seen as proof of trust. If it was a big company, people assumed everything would be fine inside. But now, Gen Z reads employee experience signals more than branding. They notice the tone in the interview process, the way the recruiter responds, the honesty of the role description, the clarity of the manager. If the company hides information during the hiring stage, oversells the role, or keeps delaying the salary conversation until the final moment, then the candidate gets a message that transparency inside may also be limited. That is why dropouts are increasing. This is not just impatience. This is selective decision making. The world of internships has also quietly changed. There was a time when internships were treated like a college formality. You got a certificate, one line was added to the CV, and that was the end of it. But now the internship has become the first testing ground of a career. The report says that 78% of organizations run internship programs, but only 16% of organizations are able to convert a large majority of their interns into full-time roles. That gap says a lot. Students are no longer seeing internships as trials. They are seeing them as entry gates. They want real work from day one. They want mentorship, and they want a clear possibility of a PPO. But companies often keep internships limited to exposure and fail to build a structured conversion pipeline. The result is that interns look at the organization looks at the interns, but the commitment between the two remains weak. That is why Gen Z is asking the same question, even in internships that it asks in full-time jobs. What will I learn here? What will I do here? And where will I go from here? If an intern is kept only in observation mode, given repetitive low-value tasks, or never made to feel that their work is part of a larger outcome, then the excitement of the internship fades very quickly. On the other hand, where companies give interns ownership, feedback, and business exposure, that same internship can create future loyalty. That is why internship no longer means coffee-fetching culture. It has become the first test of a brand promise. Any organization that wants to build a strong young talent pipeline will now have to treat internships not as a compliance activity, but as a serious talent building strategy. The way jobs are discovered has also changed dramatically. Earlier, campus placement was considered the main route. If you were in a good college, a good company would come. If you were in an average college, the struggle would be longer. That has still not ended completely, but now students no longer want to depend only on campus. According to the report, nearly 95% of students are open to off-campus opportunities if they find better roles. This means Gen Z no longer sees the job market as a geographically or institutionally bound system. It wants to create its own path through LinkedIn, hiring platforms, competitions, internships, hackathons, referrals, creator communities, and direct applications. This shows confidence, and not desperation, but agency. Still, reality has not become fully fair. The report also says that students from campuses, where more than 150 companies visit annually, are about 2.9 times more likely to secure placements than students from campuses where fewer than 30 recruiters come. That means talent and ambition may be universal, but access to opportunity is still unequal. Students from top institutes get more employer visibility, alumni networks, internship access, and structured hiring support. Students from smaller colleges have to walk a much longer road to prove the same capability. So Gen Z's shift toward off-campus opportunities is not just a choice. Many times it is also a necessity. This is the story of a generation that understands the inequality of the system, but still refuses to stop looking for alternate routes. The shift in dream employers also reflects the same mindset. According to the report, global tech companies like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon remain among Gen Z's top aspirations. This does not only mean brand attraction. It means young professionals are drawn toward innovation-led environments, digital-first roles, global exposure, and skill-rich ecosystems. In BFSI, names like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, and Morgan Stanley are being preferred. In consulting, McKinsey, Bain, and BCG remain powerful magnets. In FMCG, Hull, ITC, and Nestle remain strong. Among Indian conglomerates, Tata Administrative Services, Reliance Industries, and Aditya Birla Group are attracting general management aspirations. That means Gen Z is not chasing glamour. It is searching for growth architecture, a place where the learning curve is fast, the brand value is strong, and the role opens future doors. The rising appeal of new age companies says a lot too. Growing interest in firms like Swiggy and Meesho shows that Gen Z is not influenced only by legacy prestige. It is equally attracted to dynamic work environments, faster ownership, flatter teams, and roles with visible impact. This generation may be less impressed by boardroom polish and more impressed by actual pace. It wants a place where something feels like it is changing, where its work visibly connects to business outcomes, and where promotion comes not just from tenure, but from contribution. That is why the competition between old economy stability and new age agility has intensified. Many HR leaders may see this behavior as entitlement, but if you look closely, there is logic in it. Gen Z has grown up seeing speed everywhere. App updates are instant, information is instant, feedback is instant, networking is instant, creator success is instant, layoffs are instant, startup scaling is instant. It has watched the world in fast-forward mode. In that kind of world, if an organization keeps it inside an opaque ladder, delayed review cycles, unclear manager expectations, and a we'll see later culture for years, friction is guaranteed. This generation is not patience-less, it is context-sensitive. If it feels that a slow process is backed by a fair system, it can stay. But if behind the slowness it sees confusion, politics, or neglect, it will move on quickly. That is exactly why structured career pathways and mentorship have become so important. Another signal from the report is quite meaningful. Around 26% of freshers remain on the bench for 3 to 6 months before they begin meaningful work. Now look at that experience through the eyes of a young employee. They have crossed entrance exams, internships, interviews, assessments, offer wait lists, and joining formalities. They finally enter the job, and then they do not get a productive role. This gap is not just a loss of time, it is an erosion of confidence. The young professional feels that their beginning itself has been put on hold. In such a situation, if another opportunity window opens, switching no longer feels irrational. Companies often connect retention with salary, while many times retention is linked to a meaningful start. The experience of the first 6 months sets the emotional narrative of many careers. The biggest lesson from this entire story is that understanding Gen Z requires more than a perks list or an office culture deck. Free snacks, game zones, cool campaigns, and social media branding may get attention, but they do not create retention. Retention will come from the place where the employee feels that they are being seen, taught, challenged, and given a real path forward. If an organization cannot do that, then even if the package is competitive, the brand is strong, and the recruitment process is slick, talent churn will still rise. Because today's young professional is seeing a job not as a destination, but as a platform. They are asking, where can I go from here? And if the company cannot give a convincing answer, they will leave for another place. That is why companies will now have to change their language. They will have to move from we offer market salary to we build market ready people. They will have to fix internal ladders more than hiring ads. Managers will have to learn how to give feedback. HR will have to become more transparent. And leadership will have to see early career talent not as a cost center, but as a long-term capability asset. If the growth conversation remains limited only to the annual appraisal, Gen Z will not feel connected to it. It wants regular visibility, skill maps, manager support, and the confidence that its effort will not go invisible. This is the new deal, and this is also the biggest negotiation in today's workplace. In the end, this is not just a story of salary versus growth. It is a story about a new definition of success. It is not true at all that Gen Z does not want money. It wants money, stability, and brand value too. But it is seeing all of this inside a larger equation where learning, transparency, flexibility, progression, and purpose are equally important. For this generation, a good job is not one that only increases today's income. A good job is one that multiplies the next 5 years of value. And perhaps that is exactly why employers today are feeling less afraid of high salary demands and more afraid of high expectation clarity. Because a new generation has entered the workplace. One that is not afraid to ask questions, does not sit in waiting rooms for too long, and already believes that the real salary is sometimes written not in the payslip, but in the growth curve. If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.